Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for watching the webinar that we're doing today. And this is the second one that we've done for the year. And if you remember last week, we introduced something that we had just launched called Package Builder, which was it's designed to be able to create packages where you can group services together, and it basically just makes booking packages a lot more streamlined. It allows you to create a customized price for these packages. And we're going to go through that briefly again today for those of you that missed it. But then what we're also going to do is we're going to touch on something that we have also released this week, which is custom recipe creation. So the topic of recipes can get quite complicated, but I'll go through how our standard recipe builder works, but then I'll also touch on how the custom or ad hoc recipes can be done. And essentially all that an ad hoc recipe is imagine you are applying a color treatment and this customer has a very specific mixture. This allows you to create a custom recipe just for that treatment or just for that customer so that the correct amount of professional stock gets deducted at the end of the day. That is what an ad hoc or custom recipe is. So we'll go through that. And then we'll touch on any questions or just basically go through what's coming up as well in the next couple of weeks, specifically around the release of the SalonBridge app to the Google Play Store. And then following that will be the iPhone release as well. So we'll touch on that just so that everybody's prepared for it. So let's dive into the console over here where you can see I'm just logged into the dashboard. So I'll touch on the packages that we went through earlier or last week. So if I go to my business and then services, you'll see that my services are listed over here. And if you're new, this is something that we can import for you as well, but you obviously do have the ability to add, edit, remove any of these services yourself. So you can see we've got some hair services, you've got some nail services, some waxing services. And on the right over here, we've got a Valentine's package. So we've created a package here, and you'll see that if I click on it, I've got a soak-off, a manicure, and a pedicure as part of this package. So what a package is a group of services that happen on a particular date. I'm coming in for a nail or Valentine's package, and it consists of the following services, and usually for this you get this at a special price, and that is what Package Builder is, or that is what a package is. This is slightly different to what a service session is, or if I'm coming in for 10 sessions of laser or 10 sessions of spray tanning or something along those lines. That is slightly different, and that doesn't apply to Package Builder. The services where you come for multiple sessions and an amount gets deducted off a customer's payment in advance is already something that we've done for a long time. And that is just a feature of the way in which SalonBridge handles accounts. The way that it works, and I'll touch on it very briefly, is when a customer comes in for a session of, say, 10 treatments, you book the treatment, and when you're on the account screen where you would capture a payment, you would capture the payment for the full amount of the session. So if 10 sessions costs 1,000 Rand, you would pay or put in the payment of 1,000 Rand that the customer would pay. And every time that customer came for a session, the amount of that particular treatment would be deducted off their credit that they have on their account. So their account goes into credit. We have an article on this in our knowledge base called Understanding Expenses, which does go into how or understanding accounts, which goes into how the account system works, how when you create a payment with an amount that is more than what's owed, the system goes into credit, and that allows the customer to come on future dates and not have to pay anything because they've already paid for their session. So this is slightly different. Packages are slightly different. And you'll see that because I've now created this package, if I go to the appointment calendar and I click on a time here, and I put in my name, I will see that my packages are listed right at the top. And if I select this package, you'll see that these services are populated automatically for me. So that is the way that Package Builder works. You're obviously able to make changes here. I can see that there is a processing time of 15 minutes between the manicure and the pedicure. But now that I've chosen this, I'm able to, if I wanted to allocate it to a different staff member, I could do that. and that works quite nicely, and it appears in the calendar for me. So really quick and easy way to do it. If I wanted to cancel this, I can just click on this booking and say cancel appointments. And that's going to then cancel all of those treatments for me and take me back to the appointment calendar. So the second topic that I wanted to chat about today was recipes, and then leading from that into a feature that we've just launched called ad hoc or custom recipes. So if you are a customer, you would have seen it appear as a new feature, and it would have appeared sort of at the top over here, where it showed you how it worked. So to understand how custom recipes work, I first want to chat about how normal recipes work. So a recipe is a combination of professional stock items that get deducted when a service is done. For example, if you have a hair salon, and I'm just using this as an example, and you have shampoo, conditioner, and color mixes at the back that get used at the basin, that would be classified as professional stock. It is stock that gets used in your salon or spa that isn't for retail sale, that a customer cannot just walk in and buy off the shelf. That is retail sale, and we have a separate section for that. Professional stock doesn't have a selling price. It's typically charged by the milliliter or by the gram or by the unit, and we allow you to load this professional stock, specify what the cost price of the professional stock is, how much you have on hand, and SalonBridge calculates the per unit cost for you. So here you can see that this particular product, men's shampoo, I've got 80 mils of stock left. It costs 10 cents per mil, and that's just based on a test product that we launched. On the services side, one is able to create a recipe to say that when I come in for a men's shortcut, for example, it uses 25 mils of men's shampoo. That is an example. You can add multiple professional stock items here as a recipe. And when you book any of these services and you finish cashing up for the day, at the end of the working day, SalonBridge will go through what services you have done during the course of that day, find out what recipes are allocated to those services, and deduct that from your professional stock accordingly. So if at the end of today I've only done one men's shortcut treatment, SalonBridge is going to say, okay, I see you've done this treatment. This has a recipe of 25 milliliters of men's shampoo. I now need to deduct 25 milliliters of men's shampoo from your professional stock inventory. So tomorrow when I come in, the men's shampoo will be 25 mils less than what I had today. That is how recipes work and how Recipe Builder works. And you can add, again, multiple items here. You can say that it uses a conditioner, and then it gets deducted at the end of the day. You can then go to your reports and you can generate a professional stock level report. If you want to do a stock take of your professional stock and you want to compare that to what's on the shelf, SalonBridge allows you to do that because it's been deducting automatically for you. Just the same way that retail stock gets deducted automatically when you add it to a customer's account and charge them for a retail product. So that is, in a nutshell, how recipes work and how professional stock works. What we released last week was the ability to customize this recipe on a case-by-case basis. So let's take our example of the men's shortcut, which we have as using 25 milliliters of shampoo. Assume that that is the standard amount of product that gets used on a typical client. However, if a client with exceptionally long hair were to arrive, you may use more than 25 mils of shampoo. You may use 50 mils of shampoo in order to wash their hair, in which case you need to adjust it just for that particular customer and just for that particular day. Next time he or she comes, it might be a different story. And this becomes more prevalent as you start to work with color mixtures. So if a customer comes in and wants to go from a brunette to a platinum blonde, you're going to need to use a very specific amount of color in order to achieve that result. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by creating an appointment. I'm going to use myself as an example, and I'm going to use the men's shortcut because I know that that uses 25 milliliters of shampoo right now. I'm going to book that, And if I click on the appointment, I can see that here is the service I'm coming for, men's shortcut, 11 to 12 o'clock, and it costs 150 Rand. Because I have loaded professional stock into the system underneath the professional stock heading over here, I now get an icon over here next to the service, which looks like a little recipe slip. If I click on that, it'll bring up the default recipe for me for what is allocated to the service. So this is what's going to be deducted at the end of the day. I now have the ability to change this if I wanted to apply more, or if I wanted to say that in addition to the shampoo, we also condition their hair, so we're going to add some conditioner as well. So instead of 25 mils of men's shampoo, I'm going to say that they used 50 mils of shampoo and 25 mils of conditioner, for example. So all I do is I click on this little X icon because I want to get rid of this item, and I say men's shampoo, and I want to use 50 milliliters of that, and I say add item, and here you can see it appears as a line item under the recipe. I'm also going to say that it uses conditioner, and I want to use 25 mils of that, and here it appears underneath the men's shampoo. Once I'm happy with this, I simply say save recipe, and the recipe gets updated for me. Now if I click on this icon again, you'll see that it appears as men's shampoo 50 mils, conditioner 25. At the end of today, this is what's going to be deducted from my professional stock inventory, so that I can keep a very accurate record of what gets used for the professional stock. Again, this will override the existing recipe. If you make changes to this particular service, it's not going to change the recipe for all men's shortcuts. It's only going to make the change for this particular appointment, for this particular service, one time. So again, it's designed to be used for keeping very precise measurements of professional stock, but more specifically for color mixtures, because that is a very custom thing that will vary from customer to customer depending on what they want. So that's how custom recipes work. If you do have questions about that, I encourage you to just go and have a look at our knowledge base. We have an article that is quite detailed in how it's written on how this works and what the purpose of it is. But if you do have questions around it, you can also just send us a message or give us a phone call, and we'll be more than happy to explain it as well. Again, this is also only relevant if you have professional stock items loaded. If you just have retail items loaded, that is not going to pull through to your professional stock. If you want your professional stock imported, you can add it under the professional stock section, or you can send it through to us and we'll also import it onto your account for you for free. So that explains recipes in a nutshell, and that also explains how the custom recipes work. I mentioned earlier that I would chat a little bit about the sessions and how that might work. So I'll go through that very briefly and just detail how I could create a session based off of this. And I'm going to use this example as a sort of starting point to say that the session that this customer is going to book is going to consist of, say, 10 men's shortcuts. So the customer has booked for their first one, they've arrived, and now they obviously need to pay for this session. So I'm going to click on go to account, and I can see that 150 Rand is owing. What I'm going to do over here is pay for the package. Let's assume, or sorry, not the package, the service, or the session. Let's assume that this is a session of 10 shortcuts and I pay 1,500 Rand for it. I'm just using an example. So I would say add payment, and the amount that I would pay is 1,500. And I'm going to pay with my credit card. The purpose of this is really just to show you how the credit system works. So you'll see that now that I've added the 1,500 Rand, my account says in credit for minus 1,350 Rand. Every time I now book this particular customer, the SalonBridge system will pick up that this customer's account is still open, and it will add that treatment to the existing account, and the amount will get deducted from the credit. So if I go back to the appointment calendar and I book another men's shortcut for Mark Ra, men's shortcut, and I go to the account, I'll see that the credit has now been reduced to 1,200 Rand. And this is how the sessions can work. You would simply create a service that has the individual session price loaded, and you would capture the payment for what the session price is. If the special is come for 10 haircuts for 1,000 Rand, then I would have the haircut loaded as 100 Rand per session, and the session total price would be 1,000 Rand, and that would be the credit that gets applied to my account. Again, this can be somewhat complicated to get to sort of wrap your head around, but once you've done it once or twice, or you've played around with it, it becomes quite clear on how it works. If you do struggle with understanding that, I encourage you just to give us a call, send us a live WhatsApp message or a live chat message, and we'll be more than happy to chat about it. Otherwise, try it out on yourself as well. Create a service that is loaded with a session price, book the treatment, capture a payment, and see how it would actually look if it were being done on an actual client. You can always go and cancel the appointments and void the payment just to basically balance everything out. But it will give you that confidence just to carry on using the system in ways that maybe you weren't using before. And that goes for anything in the system. If you want to try something out and you're unsure, ask us or give it a try and see for yourself. So that's basically everything that I wanted to cover in the session for today. It was really just focused around the packages, the recipes, the custom recipes, and then also on these sessions. So we'll continue to add more and more features. One thing that I wanted to finish off on was the SalonBridge app that we're launching this week on the Google Play Store. So that will appear as an update on your devices if you're using an Android phone. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad tablet, you will get an update at a later date. This is specifically for Android users that we're releasing it on first. And the only reason we're doing that is because Android doesn't support a direct Yoko integration, and that is what we're busy finishing off on the iOS app at the moment. So if you have an Android device and you're using the app, take a look at our latest Facebook post, which just I will send a video on what the app looks like, but also keep an eye out for your updates so that you can get the latest version of the app and what that entails. Also have a look at our previous webinar where I go through the app in a bit more detail, and you can see exactly what it's going to look like and what you're able to do in it. Other than that, have a fantastic week ahead. I really encourage you guys, if you have any questions, reach out to us. We're always here to help. Otherwise, have a fantastic week, and I look forward to chatting with you guys next time.